According to testimony from New York State police officers Friday, Michael Beard told investigators Thomas Clayton offered him $10,000 to kill Kelly Stage Clayton. From a series of voluntary interviews with Beard, the days following Kelly's death, investigators say Beard became emotional after failing a polygraph test. Beard told investigators he knew where the murder weapon was because Tom told him and he moved it. From there, Beard took investigators to Fitch's Bridge off Route 225, where investigators looked for a yellow axe or hammer. It's not clear at this time if they found what they were looking for.
The purpose of today's hearing wasn't to tell us when certain evidence was recovered. It's just to determine the admissibility of those statements. For me to comment on whether or not and when it was recovered would be unfair. We're not supposed to comment on evidence.
The purpose of Friday's Huntley hearing was for the judge to decide whether or not the statements Beard made to court are admissible. Although polygraph tests are not admissible in court, Judge Peter Bradstreet said everything else but those results will be allowed at trial.
What's good for the prosecution is that certain statements made by Beard are going to be, we can use them at the time of trial. All right, so that's a good thing because he made certain inculpatory statements.
Reporting in Bath, Logan Wilson, WENY News.
Renata, more than 100 people showed up to the Steuben County office buildings here behind me for jury selection in Michael Beard's murder trial today. So far, 10 jurors have been selected, including 3 women and 7 men. Special District Attorney Whedon Wetmore and Defense Attorney Kevin Van Allen questioned potential juries in 2 pools of 21 people. And now they need to select 2 more tomorrow, as well as 2 alternates. Now, defense attorney Kevin Van Allen asked the jurors a specific question. He said if his client, Michael Beard, admitted guilt to police, if those jurors could still consider the other facts and evidence in the case with an open mind. It was an emotional day in court today as jury selection was completed and opening statements began in the murder trial of Michael Beard. Now, Special District Attorney Whedon Wetmore began his opening statements by explaining the moments that Kelly Stage Clayton died. First up on the stand this morning was the 911 dispatcher. Now, he testified to the 911 call that he got from Thomas Clayton on September 29th, 2015. Now, the dispatcher testified that that call came in at 12:38, and jurors, as well as everyone else in the courtroom, was able to hear that 911 call, which said, "Help me, help me, my wife is dead." Yeah, Renata, it was another long and emotional day here of testimony in the Michael Beard murder trial. Now, this morning, the entire morning of testimony was all about cell phone data. Many different people took the stand to describe the data information that was retrieved from Michael Beard's phone, as well as other calls that Thomas Clayton allegedly made from other places. Yeah, Renata, as I told you at 5:30, this morning's witness testimony was all about cell phone data between Michael Beard and Thomas Clayton. Now, the afternoon's testimony was an emotional one, especially for Kelly's family that was in the courtroom, as a New York State police investigator read a statement that Michael Beard made to police saying he killed Kelly Clayton and Thomas Clayton paid him to do it. Now, I warn you, the statement that I'm about to tell you about may be upsetting to some. The statement said Michael Beard said Thomas Clayton asked him 4 months before the crime if he'd kill his wife. Beard said no. Clayton then asked him again on September 26th. Beard said Clayton offered to pay him $10,000 and threatened him if he didn't accept. Beard said the plan was to go into the house, knock out Kelly, and then set the house on fire. Clayton even told him where the key was to the house and where the sledgehammer was for Beard to use as a weapon, and where gas cans were to set the house on fire. It even said Clayton left him a red truck on Macaulay Street to get to the house. Beard said he went to the Clayton home, got the murder weapon where Clayton told him it was, went to Kelly's bedroom, and hit her in the head as she was walking out. He said he then ran, and Kelly chased after him. She fell down the stairs, and then Beard said he scuffled with her into the kitchen, where he hit her until she was dead. Beard said he didn't set the house on fire because he was scared. He said he hung the murder weapon out of the car window to not get blood in it before he tossed it. Beard signed this statement and was charged with murder moments after. Also, the investigator today read a note and also testified that on October 14th, Beard told him more information. Now, this information that Beard told police in the Steuben County Jail was where he threw his clothes in a swamp off Grand Central Avenue in Elmira. He also told them where he threw the house keys to the Clayton home, which is in a creek off 14th Street in Elmira Heights. Now, today the defense didn't cross-examine many witnesses again, but when they did, they questioned them on the validity of that statement and the different protocol that state police investigators make when they do interview suspects or not even suspects, just to get any information in certain cases. Now, on the stand tomorrow will be more New York State police investigators who found the weapon and other evidence in relation to this case. And we'll bring you that testimony tomorrow. And as always, for the latest updates on this case, you can follow me on Twitter. But for now, reporting live from the Steuben County Courthouse, Logan Wilson, WENY News. Like you said, the medical examiner took the stand and revealed her results of the autopsy of what caused Kelly Clayton's death. Now, in that autopsy report, the medical examiner said that Kelly Clayton was hit multiple times in the front of her skull, that the front of her skull had multiple injuries. She also said that her arms and her hands had cuts, had defensive wounds, and that her fingers were broken. Now, also other people that took the stand today were New York State police investigators who testified about the alleged murder weapon. Now, they testified that that weapon was found by a canine on October 3rd of 2015 during a search of Route 225 near Neal Road in Pine City. Now, they also testified as to how they got that information, and a lot of that information that they got from interviewing Michael Beard also led them to other searches later in October, finding keys to the house and other items. Now, coming up on WENY News at 6 o'clock, I'll tell you about the afternoon of testimony that included surveillance video testimony from the owner of Ladderbrook Story, as well as a forensic scientist who told us about his findings of the murder weapon and other evidence that was found at the Clayton's home that night. But for now, reporting live from the Steuben County Courthouse, Logan Wilson, WENY News. Now, from Wednesday to Friday, 29 witnesses took the stand, and Special District Attorney Whedon Wetmore says he still has many more to call to the stand next week. Samantha, this morning's testimony was all about business relationships witnesses had with Michael Beard and Thomas Clayton. This afternoon's testimony focused on alleged sexual relationships Clayton had with 3 women. The first witness testified to knowing Clayton through an insurance office. She said Clayton made many passes at her. He also wanted to increase his family's policy limit to $1 million in the fall of 2014. She testified to having a sexual relationship with Clayton on 2 occasions in 2014. The woman said Clayton told her he wanted to divorce Kelly but couldn't because she would take everything from him. The second witness on the stand testified to meeting Clayton through a business relationship. She said she began having sex with him in the spring of 2015, and it continued following Kelly's death. She testified Clayton told her his marriage was rocky. The third witness testified saying Clayton told her he didn't love Kelly anymore and said many times he was going to leave her. The third witness also said Clayton told her in the summer of 2014 he was taking money out of his joint account with Kelly and moving it to another. Now, testimony will continue tomorrow with witnesses testifying about DNA evidence. And for the latest updates from the courtroom, you can follow me on Twitter. But for now, reporting in the studio, Logan Wilson, WENY News. So far, nearly 50 witnesses have taken the stand to testify. Today's witnesses included 2 different cell phone experts who testified about cell phone records as well as data. Now, the first cell phone witness that was called to the stand was a Verizon Wireless Records employee. He testified to a phone call Thomas Clayton received from Michael Beard's number on September 28th, the day before Kelly's death, at 5:55 p.m. that lasted 77 seconds. Another cell phone analyst, who is a New York computer forensics analyst, testified that Thomas Clayton had deleted text messages on his phone, including a message to Luke Tetro about exchanging cars the days before Kelly's death. That cell phone analyst also testified that Clayton's phone was on when he allegedly used a friend's phone at a poker game he was at the night of Kelly's death. Earlier in the trial, we heard testimony that that phone call was made to Michael Beard's phone number. Another witness testified today to the Claytons' insurance policy. He said he created it for them in 2012, and in October of 2014, he doubled it because Thomas Clayton asked him to. The insurance broker changed Kelly's policy limit to $1 million, and it was set to go into effect in October of 2015. Now, coming up at 6, I'll explain the rest of the testimony that was heard today that include testimony from 2 different forensics analysis about blood on evidence as well as DNA evidence. But for now, reporting live from the Steuben County Courthouse, Logan Wilson, WENY News.
Logan?
Renata, today was by far the longest day of testimony so far in the Michael Beard murder trial, and Michael Beard himself took the stand for the defense after the prosecution rest. Now this morning, Special District Attorney Whedon Wetmore read a grand jury statement that Michael Beard allegedly made during Thomas Clayton's grand jury testimony. In that statement was basically more in-depth of a statement he already made to police earlier in the case, saying that Thomas Clayton hired him to kill Kelly, that he was originally supposed to do it on September 23rd when Thomas Clayton was out of town in Ohio. However, he wasn't able to because of a prior job obligation. He then said that him and Thomas Clayton met on the 26th and discussed the plan again, that he was supposed to go into the Clayton's home and set it on fire, and that the kids nor Kelly would be there, but that if Kelly was home, that he was supposed to knock her over the head and make it look like she was painting her nails or taking off nail polish, and the nail polish remover was what set the house on fire by knocking over a candle. Now, he also said in that grand jury testimony that at the end of it, they asked Michael Beard why he was coming forward with all this information, and he said because he was sorry. He thought that the family deserved justice. However, this afternoon, Michael Beard refuted those claims when he took the stand himself, saying that yes, he was propositioned by Thomas Clayton to burn down the Clayton home for $10,000, but he was told that no one would be inside the home, and that when he got to the Clayton's home and saw Kelly, that he freaked out and left. He said on his way out of the Clayton home that he ran into a man that he thought resembled Thomas Clayton, and that when he knocked into this man, that this man handed him the alleged murder weapon. Clayton says he ran out of the home with a murder weapon, went to the truck that Thomas Clayton allegedly provided for him, and continued driving back to Elmira Heights and tossed the weapon. However, when cross-examination came from defense attorney Whedon Wetmore, Wetmore said, "How could you be so shocked that you still had the murder weapon in your hand, which is about 2 feet long?" Now, testimony of Beard was almost 2 hours, and after him, the defense called a false confessions expert. Now, basically, that false confessions expert just said that he has experience studying false confessions, but that he doesn't know enough about this case to say whether or not Beard's statements to police were false, whether he was under pressure by police. And Beard, when he took the stand, said that police were pressuring him, that his defense attorneys originally were pressuring him, and that they were even threatening to harm his family or charge his wife with a crime, and that's why he agreed to whatever they said. Now, as always, you can follow me on Twitter for the latest updates on this case, and tomorrow the defense says they will call one more witness before resting and closing statements. But for now, reporting live from the Steuben County Courthouse, Logan Wilson, WENY News.
Now, WENY's Logan Wilson has been following this case from the very beginning. She joins us now live from the courthouse with more on this verdict this afternoon. Logan?
Renata, I am live inside the Steuben County Courthouse where the verdict just came down for Michael Beard. He was found guilty on all 3 counts of murder. Now, when that first count was read, family and friends in the courtroom bursted out in cries and cheers. Now Michael Beard was found guilty of first-degree murder and 2 counts of second-degree murder. Now this was after jury deliberated for around 7 hours, and just before they came down with that verdict, they heard back DNA testimony that an expert read on the stand, a New York State trooper, and Special District Attorney Whedon Wetmore believes that that was the deciding factor for jurors.
A victory for family and friends of Kelly Stage Clayton, as one of the men accused of killing her was found guilty Friday afternoon. Michael Beard is convicted of being hired by Thomas Clayton to kill his wife Kelly in their Clayton home on September 29, 2015. Special District Attorney Whedon Wetmore says he believes this verdict helps his upcoming case against Thomas Clayton.
We're obviously on the right track because the jury, in fact, found Beard guilty of the top count, which indeed was that Clayton hired him to do this.
Despite the defense's argument that their client made a false statement to police, they say it was an uphill battle.
I think he was prepared for it, hopeful that it would turn out differently after the expert testimony and of the false confession expert and the DNA, but it was a lot to overcome nonetheless.
The jury asked to hear back Beard's testimony, DNA testimony, and the definition of the charges. After hearing back the DNA testimony, they had a verdict within minutes.
Matching profile of Michael Beard's was not something that had been left at the premises for a long period of time, but that it was fresh, arising out of this crime. I think that was what perhaps put the nail in the coffin for them, or what convinced them.
Michael Beard is set to be sentenced at the end of January and is facing life in prison without the possibility of parole. Thomas Clayton, Kelly's husband, is set to go on trial for the same charges on January 9th. Reporting in Bath, Logan Wilson, WENY News.